How's it going, friends? We are gonna style this curio cabinet today. If you saw the last video, you saw that I found this beauty on Facebook Marketplace for $75. I went out to try to go find some items to style it with at antique stores and garage sales, and I really haven't found anything. However, I did get those items that I shared in the last thrift haul, so we're gonna use those. And then I decided just to come home and shop my house and see what I had. I think I have a good amount of things, and then of course I will continue to look out for things. This will also give me kind of an idea of other items that I need to gather, because each of these little sections in here are going to be kind of their own little vignettes. That's how I'm gonna tackle it. So there's gonna be like 3 vignettes in each shelf, if that makes sense. And so this way I will kind of know how many items I need, about the size of the items that I need, and then we can always kind of like revisit it later. I'm someone who gets trapped by that like perfectionist mindset sometimes, and if I don't just do something, it may never get done or for a really long time. So I just don't want that to happen with this. I'm ready to style it, so let's get into it. So here's a look at some of the items that I've pulled out for this. You can see I've got a skull here. I actually got this guy on Amazon several years ago. I think he's still available, but even though it's really small, it actually like has a very realistic look to it. So I think he's gonna be kind of perfect. Then of course we've got like some of the items that I thrifted in the last thrift haul. If you haven't seen that, I'll be sure to link it so you can go back and watch that if you wanna see kind of everything I got and me just talking about those things a bit. A while back, I ordered a set of these faux book pages that are just like printed, and they look pretty realistic from afar. So I folded up a bunch of these. I think that'll be a really fun addition for this. Of course, some silver pieces, lots of old dirty bottles because, you know, that's somewhat creepy. I really love this one that has this like, who knows what on it. And we've got some old books. I got these from a garage sale a while back, and I never put them in a thrift haul, but I got like, I want to say I got a total of 6 of them for like $2. I also grabbed out these just like little knick-knacky things. If you saw my spooky dollhouse video I did last year, I had found a whole box of these on Facebook Marketplace, and some of them are pencil sharpeners, some of them aren't, but they're just like these cute little pieces of furniture, knickknacks I call them. I thought these would be really cute to put in there, so I've got like a little lantern. I think that's super cute. I love the little clock. That's one of my favorites. I actually have like 2 of these gramophones, so I thought I may as well throw one in here. I also have these like drippy candles that are really cool that I think I'm gonna put in here. I got these back when I worked at a spa. This was like a really cool line that we sold for a while. They have a very like old world spooky feel to them, so I'm gonna be using those. We also have our book that I shared in the last thrift haul, and you can now see that I have a pair of gloves and I have it in a bag. So a couple of you mentioned that I needed to be careful with this one because it could contain arsenic. So I had heard of the Scheele's green prior to this, but thought it was mostly in wallpapers and some fabrics from back in the Victorian era. Come to find out, it was used in some of the old books. So this green's a little bit darker than, you know, the Scheele's green, or the Paris green was another one. I think it's also referred to as emerald green sometimes. It's usually a bit more vibrant, but I know that it does discolor on the spine, which this one did do. So there are a couple of things that make me think it's possible that this could be one of those rare books that are poisonous. But there are also a few reasons why I think it may not be. So I'll share those a little bit later on, kind of as I'm styling. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but regardless, we're gonna handle it with care and make sure that obviously it's out of reach of like pets and kids and all of the things. So let's go ahead and start styling our cabinet of curiosities. For the majority of the styling portion of today's video, I'm going to just let you listen to the music and watch the styling and just enjoy, but I do want to quickly talk about this book. So doing some research, I had said there were some things that made me believe that it could potentially be a book that contains this toxic pigment, but there were also some things that made me think it wasn't. So when doing some research, I found a group called the Poison Book Project that focuses on researching and identifying these books and how to handle them and just how to store them safely and all of that. They mentioned the browning on the spine. You can kind of see mine does have that. That is something that they see with these books, but I will say the color green of my book is a bit darker and not quite as vibrant as the ones that you typically see. And my copyright date here is 1895, and they have that they are primarily from 1840s to 1860s for the publication dates on the ones that they have found. So mine is outside of that, which is good news. And then also they have a list on their site of titles that they have found. And my title was not on that list. So that's another good thing. So like I said, we will continue to just handle with care. I use gloves, wash my hands after. It's enclosed in this case. I do want to look more into actually seeing what it takes to get it tested so that I can find out if it does actually contain this toxic pigment. But I wanted to bring it up in this video and talk a bit more about it so that you guys kind of know. I know a lot of you also love collecting old books, so just be really cautious with old green books. And if I do find out, I will let you guys know in the future. But for now, we may or may not have a poisonous book in the Cabinet of Curiosities. I didn't have anything to fill this little frame with, so I grabbed one of these faux book pages and an old rubber stamp that I've had for a very long time, and it's actually of a teapot. And if you've been following for a little while, you know how special teapots are to me. They remind me of my mom. She collected vintage teapots, so I like to just have teapots kind of all around my house to remind me of her, and this was kind of the perfect way to fill this frame and then put a little piece of her in my living room as well. So one other thing that I wanted to share with you is I have done an updated version of this mood board for this room. If you remember towards the beginning of the year when we did all of the wall molding in here, I made up a mood board, and I am just someone who changes my mind often. I cannot keep up with myself. But I also think it's just kind of part of the creative process to build a design and then to continue to build on top of that. So this is the updated version. It speaks to my soul. I absolutely love this. You can see my thrifted chairs in there. I found this rug that I just ordered from Amazon, so that should be coming in soon. One of the things we have not solidified is what couch we're gonna go with. When we get to that, we will get to that, but this is kind of what I'm going for. And while we're on the subject of mood boards, I often get asked how I make my mood boards. So I wanted to share that with you in today's video as well, because I think it's a really helpful tool in creating a cohesive design. So the first thing that I like to do is take pictures of some of the furniture that I actually have in my spaces. If you are able to place your furniture up against like a white wall or maybe even just a solid colored wall and take your picture, it's going to be a bit easier to remove the background and just get your furniture piece. I don't see a lot of other people doing this, but for me it's super helpful and gives me a very like realistic version of what I can create with what I have. And you know, I thrift most everything that I can, and so by actually taking my thrifted pieces and putting them in with items that I'm either planning on purchasing or I'm thinking about purchasing, I can really get a feel for how they're going to work together. I will also go and gather, like I said, photos of items that I'm thinking about purchasing or that I'm planning on purchasing, and I will take screenshots of those. It's best to screenshot the ones that have white backgrounds. If it's like just the item on a white background, that's the easiest. That's not always the case with everything, so it does kind of depend on the picture. Once I've done that, you now need to remove the background on all of these photos. So pull up that saved screenshot in your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can actually just hold your finger down on the subject of the photo that you want cut out, and it will essentially highlight around it, and then you can save that photo and it will save it without the background. Does it always work? No, but most of the time I can figure out how to get the image cut out. So once I've got all of those photos kind of gathered, I like to use a program called Canva. Now this is not sponsored. I just think that Canva has the best mobile interface. It's super easy to use on your phone and basically just layer pictures on top of each other. And they have a free version. So that's what I've used for a really long time. Now, if you don't have an iPhone and you can't hold down and do the cutout of photos to where it removes the background for you, Canva, if you get the paid version, they do have a background removing feature. So I do think you could also probably Google free background remover. I think there are some sites that you can do it on as well. So that's something that I would try if you're wanting to do this without having to spend any money on it. So then you'll start a new document and then begin just layering all of the different elements that are going to go into your mood board on top of each other, moving them around. I don't try to arrange mine to be the layout of the room. My goal is mainly just to see how things sit together, how the colors work together, the patterns work together. The nice thing is once you kind of got it done, you can save it to your phone. But Canva will also save the editable version for you, so you can go back in and you can swap things out. So that's how I like to make my mood boards. I think it's a super helpful tool. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If it was, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And that's it for this week's video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.